Hi everyone. So if you ever find yourself a little bit frustrated by the policies utilised and implemented by the UK government or any other given government, one of the reasons this may occur is down to public choice theory. Now it's important to remember that politicians have very different objectives from those of you or I or any private sector firms. A politician's objectives are primarily to actually retain power and stay in political authority. So let's just take a look at this theory. It's public choice theory analyses how and why public spending and taxation decisions are actually made. Okay, now that means that the government is likely to cater towards areas that are very, very popular with the general public and therefore will result in the highest number of votes actually being accumulated. Okay, and as a consequence of this, it really suggests that governments may not try to maximise economic welfare. Okay, so it's often argued that the UK government should really focus on tackling that fiscal budget deficit and doing that very, very quickly because it is unfair to the young and unborn generations who do not vote, who will be born into the likelihood of increased taxes. Well, okay, that's fine, but when you actually consider those that vote and those that actually decide which politicians stay in power, of course there is a vested interest to ensure that austerity policies are not too damaging to the economy and would not result in a given political party being removed from power. Okay, now we can see this on this little diagram here. Now it's really unlikely that you'd actually want to draw this in any essay, but this is a useful point to understand when it comes to actual government intervention, that the government may deem it necessary to actually intervene based on what popular household consent is and popular voter consent is about a given issue. So take the sugar tax, perhaps you agree with that, perhaps you don't agree with that. But on balance, the government believes that public opinion is very much in favour of the sugar tax. So therefore that sugar tax has been introduced. Perhaps it's not necessarily a question of tackling the demerit good or the negative externalities that are truly at work there. Perhaps it's more just about the government looking good. Okay, and as such, any government that actually wants to come into power, of course, will therefore be thinking about holding down particular lines in that centre territory in all likelihood. So holding power is likely to mean a battle over that centre ground, either at point A, if you're more leftward leaning and you're more in favour of intervention, or more rightward leaning politicians that are less in favour of intervention would occupy point B perhaps. Okay, so as such it means that overall economic welfare isn't actually improved from public policy. Okay, so it's just another interesting evaluative strand that you'd be able to use in any market failure government intervention essay. And the fact that actual government intervention may be simply down to the fact that the public opinion deem it necessary. But does that really mean it is necessary? Okay, thanks a lot guys, I hope that's been useful.